I had George on the show yesterday. He said he wants to set the example for all the fighters, especially the champions. He wants to do some BOTA testing with Johnny Hendricks. I know your thoughts on BOTA, but any thoughts on George being one of the top guys? Do the BOTA testing?
I don't know. I'm going to be the most boring interview you've ever had tonight. I'm so fried right now.
Why are you fried? Just because of the emotion of the
It's been a long week, man. It's been a long week. I finished filming Tough Monday and Tuesday. We wrap there. Then I take the guys out and girls out after. Then fight week kicks off and all the stuff that's going on. It's been a long week. Then the fight.
So actually, people were asking me on Twitter about the Tough. We know some rumors of some people that are on it, but did you guys actually formally announce everybody that's on that cast?
I don't think so.
No. When would that happen?
I don't know. No idea. It's got to be pretty soon because the thing airs September 4th, so it's got to be soon.
There was a poster at the Mandalay Bay that
Has
had
10 fighters on it.
Yeah, it has 10 fighters on there. So.
Did you know them?
Some of them.
I know some of them, yes.
Yeah. I'd assume those 10 are probably.
I saw a lot of people saying that they felt like they sensed a kind of relief from Anderson almost. Like now he's got this weight off his shoulders. As somebody that's close to him, did you pick up on that at all?
I would say that somewhat that's probably true, and another side is like, nobody wants to lose, man. Nobody wants to lose, and he doesn't know how to lose. He doesn't remember how to lose. It's been too long since he's lost. This one's going to sink in a couple days after, Like I said, the first thing I hear when we walk in is somebody thinks it's a fix, and all the stupid shit that people are going to say, will start to drive somebody crazy, and, everybody knows. I know everybody knows he's going to want the rematch.
Did you think he was clowning at first when he went down? I kind of was like, is this really happening? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Because the way that he hit him with that last punch, you see his head snap. It's weird, man. You get that head to snap one certain way and you go. And Weidman caught him perfectly where he needed to hit him to knock him out.
Do you think the moment he speaks to his kids when he gets home in Brazil will be the moment you get that call for that rematch? And he has to look in his kid's eyes, because you're dad, look in your kid's eyes and explain his behavior in the cage?
Dude, I've been in this business for so long, and when you're the champion, the way everything is when you're champion and the way things are when you lose, how everything changes and how people change, it's pretty weird. It's a weird thing for these guys to deal with. And, Anderson plays a lot of things off publicly. The guy went on this win streak because he's an amazing competitor and he's an amazing talent. He's going to want to redeem himself.
You know what's interesting? If Anderson doesn't take the rematch, I know you're saying you rematch. Let's say he moved up to 205. Lyoto Machida had always said, I won't fight at 185 when Anderson is the champion. Lyoto can make 185. So in a way, if Anderson moves up or plays around in weight, doesn't that give us some more opportunities for some exciting fights at 185?
I don't think there's any way in hell he moves to 205. He wouldn't do it when he had the belt. I think he's going to look at that tape, go back in again. The one thing that everybody said would be the end of this fight was Chris Weidman taking him to the ground once he got his hands. He did it immediately. Went after a ton of stuff. Hit Anderson with some big shots. Anderson got back up. Definitely got in his head in that first round. But then came out and just, second round, got caught. Kept doing it and got caught. Everybody, man. Roy Jones Jr., Tyson, Usher, Steven Seagal, the whole crew that was over there, they were all saying he could have finished that fight 25 different ways, and but he didn't. He played around and ended up getting caught.
Dana, is part of what you're feeling right now anger?
Yeah, I'm pissed. Anger? Do I look mad?
No,
I'm fucking exhausted, but no, I'm not mad. What would I have to be mad about tonight?
There could be a million reasons, two that come to mind.
Stupid questions? What?
Two that come to mind. A, there were some big fights on the horizon if you won this fight.
I don't care about that stuff. That stuff doesn't bother me, every night you go out there and these guys fight, anything could happen. The last fight we just did was Sonnen, and that fight ends and goes into the next round. Jones loses. You know what I mean? Obviously, it's not like getting knocked out the way Anderson did, but still, anything can happen when you go out there and fight. And I gave that shit up a long time ago. That's why when people ask me, seriously, who's going to win? Like, people will come up in the street and ask me, like, I know the answer. Like, I know who's going to win or something. No idea who's going to win. And whoever wins, wins, and whatever happens, happens, and we roll with it.
I couldn't help but notice you talking to Roy for a very long time backstage.
That's another Jones that's pretty bummed out.
Yeah. What was he saying to you?
So Roy Jones Jr., right? So Anderson has been talking about boxing him forever, you know? And I called Roy on Tuesday and I said, you know, Anderson Silva's been talking about boxing you and other. I said, are you interested in this? He said, yes, I am. And I said, are you free and clear to talk to me? You're not under contract with any other promoter? And he goes, don't worry about what I'm doing. You and I go way back. He says, I'll be there Saturday and we'll figure this thing out. So he flew out here tonight, you know, and I was just I like to talk about the ideas of things, and we were going to talk after tonight. And after the first round, I don't know if you guys saw Roy Jones jump up and start screaming at me, but Roy Jones jumped up and started running over. He said, he's done, he's in his head, this fight's over already, this fight's over right now in this round, meaning Silva was going to beat him. And yeah, and then halfway through that round, that whole fucking side of the arena was like, holy shit, you know. And Usher trains with Anderson, and so it's a crazy night.
So is that talk gone then? I mean, is it?
I don't know. Roy's still saying, listen, let me tell you what we can do.
Well, what about from your point of view? I mean, in some ways, with Anderson not being the champ, it seems like it'd almost be easier to make the fight now.
Are you Roy Jones Jr.?
Was that what he was saying to you?
He was saying all kinds of shit to me, yeah. He wants that fight.
You're not interested?
Oh, no, it's not that.
What did you say back then? Like, when he's trying to
Even today, if Anderson came back out in that second round and knocked him out, I still don't know what the answer was. I brought him out here to talk. You know? Before you can even... A crazy fight like that, like a boxing match between two guys, you got to sit down and you got to find out what expectations are. What are your expectations? What do you want to get out of this thing? What do you think? I want $7 million. Roy, thanks for flying out here. It was nice talking to you. I love you. Have a good day. You know, you got to find out what everybody's expectations are, what everybody, you know, what Anderson wants, what Roy wants. Is this really going to be boxing? Is this be this? Just wanted to sit down face to face and talk. And me and Roy Jones do go way back. Like years, like when I was in my early 20s.
And so would that be a UFC promotion though, or would that be in conjunction with a boxing promoter? How would that work?
No, Roy is his own promoter as far as I know. Right. Unless we're going to talk about that too. I said, are you free and clear? He said, you and me go way back. Don't worry about what I'm doing. We'll come out and we'll figure this thing out.
I guess the bottom line of what we're trying to find out is, does the result tonight change anything in that possibility, whether it be positive or negative? Because Anderson lost tonight, does your position on that possibility change at all?
Anderson Silva needs to go home, hang out with his family, you know, take a week or two to shake this thing off, you know. I mean, there's times like when guys will win a fight and they don't want to talk for 3 weeks, you know what I mean? It's really part of the process, it really is. And especially a big night like tonight, and when you lose the way that he lost, and there's a process for this. So I had Royal over me, I had, you know, everybody was talking to me. I said, you just got to wait for Anderson to ride this out.
Now, you mentioned in the press conference a little bit about Chris Leben. Earlier in the week, it almost sounded like, you know, you keeping him in the organization almost keeps him alive, keeps him on the right path, keeps him on the straight and narrow as well as he can. So what do you do with him? Yeah.
On the flip side, you know, his fight style is not healthy for him either. You know what I mean? The way that he fights, and you know, he's getting up there in age, and the big layoffs don't help him either. You know, I don't know. I got to figure that one out too. I got to figure out what I think is going to be best for him, which people hate when I say that and when I do that, but you know.
Well, but it kind of comes back around to what you and I were talking about the other day with Mark Munoz and the mental health aspect of the game, and if there's a way that, you know, people can get prepared for this type of things.
Well, Chris Leben's issues are different than Mark Munoz's. You know what I mean? I want Leben to get up every day and be a part of society and have to do something. Whether it's training, whether it's this, whether it's training other people, no matter what it is. I want Chris Leben, because Chris Leben has the type of personality that can go off the deep end very easily. in a lot of negative ways. And I really care about the kid. I like him a lot. I love the kid. And I got to figure this thing out. No. I need to check in on him, too. Yes.
So that says
I know. It's crazy, man. It's getting crazy.
And nobody's more bothered by that than Dominic.
Yeah, I know.
He's freaking out.
It's going to have to be soon. It's going to have to be soon. It's getting crazy.
We heard from you as the point man, for the organization and so forth. But you said earlier in the week that you were a big fan of Anderson's. And as a fan, if you can speak as a fan, it is still. How does it sit with you? Though the way he lost, it has to be it has to be depressing the way he lost that fight. At least that's the way it seems to me.
Yeah, no, it's not to me though. I mean, he went out there and he fought the way that he fought. He did what he did. Again, I said, if he's doing all this stuff and then ends up clipping him and knocking him out, you're just like, holy shit, this guy's a genius. He defended the ground, pulled Weidman out of his game, and then ended up knocking Weidman out or whatever. It's just that's the way he chose to fight tonight. Do I think he will do it in the rematch? There's no way in hell. I think you're going to see a much more serious Anderson Silva. I think it's going to be a completely different fight. And I think it'll be a fight that, I know it seemed like I was attacking Kevin Iole earlier, but I wasn't. I wasn't attacking Kevin. I was just saying, people are going to say, oh, did that fight suck? Did you get what you paid for? Yeah, you fucking got what you paid for. The greatest fighter of all time went out there against Chris Weidman, a guy that many people, I saw so much shit about this fight. Like, I'm not kidding you. I had, you guys know who Norton is, right? You know Jim Norton? Comedian and huge UFC fan, radio personality. So he comes back in my room tonight and he says, it's almost like, and I saw a ton of this shit on the internet, like we were getting the fighters to say that we were like playing up this whole thing on how fighters were saying this guy could beat Anderson Silva. And I said, are you fucking crazy? First of all, if I tell a fighter one thing that a fighter doesn't want to do, he's out there ripping us apart anyway, saying, oh, they fucking made me say that. Are you kidding me? If I went to these guys and said, listen, we got to build this fight up, okay? We got to make it look like Chris Weidman might have a chance to win this fight. So I need you guys to do an interview. First of all, half of them wouldn't fucking do it, okay? Second of all, if I could talk some of it into it, the first thing they'd fucking say when they were pissed at me is like, you know what he fucking did? He made us go out and say that we thought Chris Weidman was going to win. In a heartbeat. Every fucking one of them would tell you guys that that's what I did to him. And you know this is true. And I said, are you crazy, man? I said, of course, these guys think it's true, it's real. And then, I saw all this stuff on the internet. They're selling wolf tickets by saying Chris Weidman can win this fight. And it's fucking crazy, man. We don't tell anybody to do anything. You know what I tell you to do? You got to fucking do PR on Tuesday. You got to go over here and do fucking radio on Thursday. You got to do this. We got to sign this fight. You got to sign your contract. Don't swear on free TV. All this shit I do tell them to do. That's not one of them. We don't tell guys what to say, or we don't tell guys to try to, and this is the other thing I don't do. I'll never call a guy and go, listen, you got to start talking some shit, okay? Because we got to get this fight. Listen, there's going to be fights where guys talk shit. There's going to be fights when guys start hugging and loving each other. Do I love that? No, but it is what it is. I don't ever... It's like when Ariel says, are you mad? You seem mad, because I'm not mad. A super fight was always hypothetical. It was always, if everything lines up, this super fight would happen. If the super fight happened, it would have been fucking amazing. Imagine John Jones and Anderson walking in, two undefeated fighters from two different weight classes. Now the pressure isn't on me anymore. I don't have to make that fucking fight. I talked all this shit about boxing, and then if I didn't pull that one off, holy shit. But I just don't think like that anymore.
Question about Chris Weidman. The guy looks like Clark Kent. He's all-American, clean-cut. From the New York, New Jersey area, is there any way you can use somebody like him to help get MMA legalized in New York?
Listen, there's only one thing that's going to get MMA legalized in New York. When the most corrupt politician I've ever seen in my life goes away. that's going to be a bad one. I said it.
Is Shelby Silver?
Listen to Ariel. Are you talking about Shelly Silver?
Oh no!
I want you to say it.
Say the name.
I agree. Touche.
Dana, do you have any idea how
Timing will work out. I mean, do you think that this rematch
Rematch, Madison Square Garden. How fast can we turn this around?
can the timing work, or is it just going to not work out?
How about Super Bowl Saturday in New Jersey, where Fox has a Super Bowl? Just thinking off the top of my head here.
We're talking about super fights. Is there a possibility?
Not anymore.
No, but
I will never hear that fucking word again, or at least for a while.
is there a possibility that Weidman Silva 2 is bigger than any possible super fight? I mean, the greatest
Oh,
champion
yeah.
we've ever had just
Well,
lost tonight.
That's a good question. That's a good question. His question is, can everybody hear that? His question is, the super fight talk that we were talking about, Silva Weidman 2 might be bigger than that super fight that we were talking about. Silva Weidman 2 is fucking massive. It's huge, and it's not just huge here, it's huge all over the world. If you think about it, Brazil, the United States, Canada, the UK, Australia, you know, all the places that you know, we do big numbers, all the places that are big, it's a massive fight. But on the flip side, John Jones, Anderson Silva was a massive, massive fight too. I don't know. I don't know. You know what I hope the answer to that question is? Fuck yes, I hope it's that big. I hope it's true.
Dana, this Super Bowl weekend card, would that be a pay-per-view or would that be a Fox card?
No, it'll be a pay-per-view.
And is New York booked for that weekend?
They announced it the other day. The Fox Sports 1 launch after Jay Glazer, they ran a video that said the Prudential Center is booked for the Saturday night before the Super Bowl.
When you say off the top of your
How'd you
head,
miss that, Ariel?
well, I wanted you to say it.
Oh, he's
At the Jay Glazer Q&A that nobody else went to, that I sat there for an hour.
Wow, John.
You were the guy that showed up at the Jay Glazer Q&A?
Dedication. Dana, when you say that's off the top of
It
your
paid
head,
off, damn it.
is that really the best idea possible for it? Do you think that makes most sense?
What? That fight?
on. Would that be like you would say?
Well,
Brazil?
here off the top of my head, yeah, that makes sense.
No, but is there like an underlying truth to that, or is it really just off the top of your head?
No, it's really off the top of my head.
And do you have any idea how the pay-per-view is trending?
Tonight, big.
Big?
Big.
What kind of big?
Yesterday, this thing was trending over 800,000 buys.
What do you think it will get to?
I hope it does 1.8 million.
You think it could do over a million?
I don't know. I don't know. We were trending over 800,000 yesterday, so.
And did you get the impression that this will be covered by mainstream sports media?
Oh, hell
as a
yeah.
big deal?
Hell yeah. Yeah, it will be.
Do you think they understand the magnitude of this?
Yeah, I get it. Believe me, I understand how big this is that he knocked him out tonight. It's huge.
Of course you do, but people who don't usually cover the UFC on Monday, do you think they'll be talking about this?
I can tell you how many requests he's gotten already. Sorry to jump in, but
Yeah,
it's
sorry.
a big deal.
You know, looking at somebody from the prelims, Edson Barboza, with those legs, I have a feeling that you were giving it a couple of
Yeah. Oh shit. Yeah. Yeah, it was awesome. It was awesome. He's a fun kid to watch. He keeps getting better and better. That's good stuff. It was a great card tonight, from the first fight to the last fight. You know, it was a great fight, and you know, there's been all this talk about fuck it, I'm not even gonna go there. Somebody else have a question over here? I'm too tired to talk about that right now.
You've forever talked that a loss kills one of the super fights. You promoted Liddell Silva, coming both of them years back. They were both coming off losses. You still went ahead with that dream fight. Everyone wanted to see it, had talked about it for so long. It was a killer night.
Anywhere near as big as it would have been if those two fought in their prime.
But it was still one of the better fights of the year.
Right.
And a pretty memorable moment. It wasn't
Yeah.
a fight when it could have been.
Right.
Fine.
Imagine those two in their prime.
Sure.
Killers, banging it out. The whole world wants to know who's the best. They weren't even the best at the time when they fought. Two guys. Who's better, Pride or UFC? And I was willing to fucking see. That's the thing. I was willing to put that fight on when we had competing organization. I was going to go head to head against our competing organization and make that fight. And they lied, just like every other time they lied, said they were going to do something and didn't do it. You know, we got robbed of that one.
Hey, Dana, I heard some people griping that, the pay reports came out. I know you don't want to talk about fighter pay too much, but about Weidman's pay for this fight. But I had heard that he was offered a new deal before this fight and said, no, I want to wait until after this fight so that I have a little more negotiating power because you guys are going to pay me more. Is that
not true?
Not true.
It's not true at all. Actually, if you heard tonight, he said, I've been through a lot of hard times in the last year, and the UFC really helped me out. What? Fucking UFC help somebody? I don't believe it. We don't help people. We fucking steal from people and we rob and pillage and.
He actually brings up the point about Roy Nelson, though. He gambled and lost on that, not renewing before his fight. What's the status?
Didn't gamble. Weidman's been, a great guy. Weidman, there were never any talks like that, and there's never any talks like that. I mean, even with Roy Nelson, as we get into it, that's even. There's more to the Roy Nelson story, but again, without rehashing that whole thing, there's never. When we go into contract negotiations. A lot of this stuff is bullshit. I told Tim Kennedy was sitting right here. And I fucking called him out in the fighter meeting. You want to make more money? Go out there and be fucking exciting. Make people talk about you Sunday and Monday. Go out and put on the fucking show of your life. When people are doing the fucking wave during your fight, they might not be too fucking excited about your fight, okay? You don't ever want people doing the fucking wave while you're fighting, right?
Can we talk a little
bit? Fun at baseball games, not fucking fun in a fight.
Can we talk a little bit more about Vitor with the 172 texts on your phone? I mean, he's being very vocal. I know you appreciate when people ask for something, but where does he really stand in this? Obviously, you're pushing for the rematch, but where does Vitor fit in the picture?
Anderson Silva has gone undefeated since 2006 and has beat everybody and held the title. He deserves the rematch. I mean, Chris Weidman said that before he even fought him. Vitor's just gonna have to wait. He's not getting the rematch. He can text, he can tweet, he can write fucking letters, he can call his congressman, he can do whatever he wants to do. He's gonna have to wait. Anderson Silva's getting the rematch.
And then, who do you think will be the underdog in the rematch?
Well, the odds were the lowest they've ever been for an Anderson Silva fight. The next ones are going to be very interesting. I guarantee you, you go online right now, I bet you the odds are up already for the rematch.
What your underdog for the rematch?
I think I would have the odds pretty much the same as they were this time. They were like 2-1. Anderson Silva.
Dana, who do you
still favor Silva?
Yeah, I think it would still be the same. Dave? I think so too. Yeah, 2-1. I think it would be a 2-1 again.
Dana, for many years you fought with many people that Anderson was the best pound-for-pound fighter in the world.
Yep.
Obviously, that's not the case.
You being one of them. Yeah.
Who is the best pound-for-pound fighter in the world now?
John Jones.
Not Weidman?
No.
You beat the king.
So if you beat that guy, you automatically become the pound-for-pound best in the world?
There's no rule book for the pound-for-pound discussion. I was just wondering, you don't think it's enough? Is he above GSP?
No. No, you're talking about guys who've held belts and fought for years. He doesn't have one title defense, yet he's the pound-for-pound best in the world all of a sudden. It doesn't work that way. There might not be any rules, but you can't be fucking stupid either.
Is he top 5?
Yeah. You think of my top 5 now? I don't know if I didn't. You got Jose Aldo in there too. Yeah. So he just jumps right above Jose Aldo, who's defended the title and done all this other stuff. You don't just shoot right to the top of the pound-for-pound list. Pound-for-pound list is he'd be in the top 10, definitely.
The bottom.
Yeah, probably. Because I don't know who else is in it. Because when you get past fucking 4 and 5, I disagree with most of it. I don't agree with the top 10 pound for pound. I agree with like the top 4, because you'll have people who have, usually it's Anderson, then you got Jones or St. Pierre, Jose Aldo's in there. I agree with all of those. Then once you get past there, it's all sketchy. It's all questionable after that.
And do you think that Anderson is number 2 or number 3?
Hold on, baby. What's that?
Do you think that Anderson is number 2?
Yeah, Anderson's definitely still on the list. He's 2, he's 3, I don't know.
He's above Weidman, but
So he's above Weidman.
Oh, yeah. I'd still put him above Weidman.
really?
Yeah.
And above Weidman or and above St. Pierre?
Above, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know where he'd fall. You don't think he's still one of the pound-for-pound best fighters in the world?
We need you to write a full list right now.
90% of the people in here believe that he lost because he was fucking around. Right? Many people think he lost tonight because he was fucking around and doing what he shouldn't have been doing.
Did it for 7 years?
It's just like in college football, if the number 1 team loses to the number 25 team, the number 25 team doesn't go to number 1.
Thank you.
Right?
Thank you. Would you pull him aside and have a talking with him? What'd you ask me?
I was trying to ask where you would rank Weidman's win in, I guess, the scale of upsets with UFC history.
Massive.
Yeah.
Maybe the biggest. I mean, it's...
Over Sarah?
That one was big. That one was big. I'd still make Matt Serra number 1. Yeah, that was craziness. Nobody saw that coming except Matt Serra. People actually thought Weidman would win.
Right.
Matt Serra's mom didn't think he was going to win that fight. Yeah, she had money on GSP.
November, is that going to be a loaded card for the anniversary or
Yes. Yes, it will be loaded. Were there 2 questions there? Will it be loaded or will the card suck? Is that what you asked me? What did you say? No, I mean, it better be something special. It's our 20-year anniversary, so we will do the best we can, injuries willing, as long as people aren't fucking dropping like flies, we'll build a great card. I can tell you this right now. This is one of those fights that when you talk about what's the significance of this, did you look around that arena tonight when he fucking lost? Yeah. I mean, the whole fucking place was like going, holy shit, people were clapping and cheering. I got a buddy from Boston who's down in Huntington Beach right now. He said the fucking streets were loaded with fucking people out in the streets just screaming and yelling and going fucking crazy. Imagine what it was like in Brazil. What it was like in Brazil when this dude lost. This is one of those moments where people fucking just go crazy. Anderson Silva lost tonight. That's one of those crazy moments, And we were talking earlier this week about when this guy retires, man. When this guy retires and the significance of his place in the sport and what he does. Nights like tonight that you realize it, and everybody was in shock and people were going crazy and people were out in the streets. This dude was in Huntington. He said, you should have fucking saw it down here. That whole restaurant district down there with the bars and everything. He said, you should have saw what it was like down here. Because he's from Boston. He's never even been there. He's down there for some fucking dance competition for his daughter. So they went down there to watch the fights. He said he's never seen anything like it in the streets down there. I can imagine that happened all throughout California and all those areas because we do big bar business, and the bar business was big for this one. So people must have been going crazy.
Well, you should have seen the fighters because they sit behind us, and the fighters just had this shock. He's beatable. Do you know what I mean? That's really what they all looked like.
Right.
It's crazy.
Some were clapping, some were like. Yeah, they're all looking at each other.
Yeah,
trying to figure
that's
out.
what was going on over on my side too. People were all looking at each other like, did that just happen? Crazy. But I'm telling you, man, that's one of the things that makes combat sports and this sport so exciting, is that when 2 guys go in there, anything can happen, and when it does, you're just like, wow. And to go out like that, like goofing around, doing all the shit he did, and then to get clipped. And idiots that say that this fight was fixed. It happened so fast, and some of you said it, and I was thinking the same thing. What just happened? Was he goofing around? Is he still goofing around when he's down? He's getting ready to pull guard, And then when they show that replay, and you just see him get clipped, and his eyes just roll back into his head. Yeah, the fix is in. Fucking idiots. Oh my God.
Did it feel strange being in the cage? After a Silva fight,
yeah,
and you're not wrapping the belt around his waist.
Yeah, and he's still laid out on the ground.
How, what were you, just what was going through your head as you're wrapping the belt?
Yeah, I was. I was honestly still in shock until about, 10 minutes before I came into the press conference. Because, I had all those guys back in my room. I had friggin' Usher and Jones and Tyson and the Sons of Anarchy dudes, and everybody was just in there going, holy shit, and talking about it, And I was in shock.
Another one of those moments is when Anderson was sitting on the other side of the podium without the belt. That was another. You're not used to seeing him without that shiny gold just right over the horizon.
Yep. But I'll tell you what. He handled it like a champ, man. Got up, he gave his interview and said what he said. Fucking got dressed, showered, came out here, answered all the questions and stayed, had good answers to the questions, didn't have one-word answers and didn't act smug or, handled it like a man.
Do you think a part of him is relieved that he doesn't have this weighing on him anymore?
He said that. I'm sure part of it is relief to have this thing off his back, but the other part is misery, man. I'm telling you guys, maybe some of you see it, maybe some of you don't. The guys who are the champions and have that belt, their life is fucking crazy. I mean, that belt, Ben Henderson will sit up here and say, yeah, it's a belt, it's a title. Bullshit. That belt is the key. If you do things the right way and you are smart and handle yourself the right way, that belt is the key to many, many fucking things in life. And when you're the champ, you feel it. And when you're not, you feel it too, especially if you've had it and lost it. And Anderson Silva will go home, take a couple of weeks, and maybe it won't even take a couple of weeks. And he's going to be like, I want that fucking belt back. BJ Penn, you've heard him say it many times. I didn't realize what I had when I had that belt. And now I want it back worse than anything. And when a guy starts to realize he might never get that belt or even get a chance to get near it again, it's a shitty feeling. You don't want to be the fucking... He's got it worse than anybody. The greatest fighter of all time, and I don't have my belt, my fucking belt back. Believe me. Guys who are real guys, there's nobody more real than this guy. This guy's fought everybody. He's gone everywhere. He's done everything. He wants that belt back. He might not know it yet. He's going to know it.
Quick side note, what did you say to Bonnar today?
To who?
Bonnar.
Bonnar and I went out back. We hugged it out. And he kept explaining to me why he did what he did. And I said, it doesn't fucking matter why you did it. You did it. You lied to me. You lied to me. He started explaining everything, and I wouldn't take excuses, Dude, I've always been straight up with you. I've always been fucking good to you. Anything you've ever needed, you lied to me. I'm over it. We're cool. You fucking lied to me. No matter what the excuse is.
Did he apologize?
Yeah. He did. And he talked about how much this has meant to him and how much it meant to his life. And, one of the things that guys face, is, and he said it, the UFC was a part of my life for so long, and now it was looking like it wouldn't be, which wasn't true either, because I always said that Stephan and Forrest would always have a place here, so it wasn't really true, that's bullshit. But I understand what he's saying. He said this was my identity, this was everything to me, so I had to go out and I had to find. That's why, again, without getting into fighter pay and all this other stuff, it's like, oh my God, you fucking cut so-and-so, you bastard, you did this and that, you did all. This isn't a long-term fucking job. You don't come into the UFC thinking, man, I'm gonna stay here until I'm 65 and then I'm gonna retire, get a pension, and I'm gonna do this, that. It's a fucking short-term gig. You have a window of opportunity that's about this big, if you're lucky. If you're lucky, it's this big, and if you're talented enough, and you get in there and you do as many amazing things as you can in front of as many people as you can, and make as much money as you can, and enough contacts and this and that. So when that day, that inevitable day that will finally come when it's over, you put yourself in a great position to where you can move on and do better things. And hopefully, if you played it out right, you don't ever have to work again. Who the fuck on this planet does not understand that? The guys who understand that are the guys who... Forrest Griffin is a guy who understood that. Have that conversation with Forrest and see how he lays it out for you. Never seen a guy lay it out better than Forrest Griffin. And he said, Lord Forrest Griffin always says this, go out and fight like you, but go to the bank like me, which means he's cheap as hell. Forrest Griffin's still wearing the fucking jacket that he wore in season 1 of The Ultimate Fighter. He's still driving the fucking Scion, right? You know, Scion fucking grabbed him and is going to do like some commercial on how many miles this kid has on his car, and it's still running. He's still got the same car. Forrest Griffin is a cheap motherfucker, and that's the way you got to be in this business. Save your money, put it away, do the right things with your money, because this sport, your time can be over any minute. This isn't some long-term gig. This isn't like, well, I come work for the UFC and, you know, retire when you're 65. This is a sport. Who knows how long you're in it? You know, when I listen to some of this stupid shit that reporters write, and some of this stupid shit that's said on the internet about people's time while they're here, cutting this guy and cutting that guy, and oh my God, and fucking John Fitch and this and that and everything else. I want to meet the guy who thought he was going to come here and retire at 65, and you know, ridiculous.
You wish Stephan would have apologized or offered any regret today during the speech? He never said anything like, hey, I know I made some mistakes. I mean, he talked for quite a while, but he never said anything like, I apologize to the fans. I mean, I know he apologized to you, but do you wish he would have said anything to the fans?
No. That was his moment. He got inducted in the Hall of Fame. He can say whatever he wants to say. He said what he had to say to me behind backstage. He's probably going to be upset that I told you. Here we go again. You know, I tell these, you better start learning. If whatever conversations we have, most of them, not all of them, but I give most of the stuff to you guys. I let you know what's going on, you know, and I tell you guys the truth. And people don't like it. The fighters don't like it a lot that I do it. But why not? I don't understand why we can't. You know.
Is it possible you'd ever offer him a position?
Stephan?
Yeah.
I don't know. Stephan did pretty well. He did all right. He went out with a bang. Made a lot of money, and he's parlaying that money he made into other things right now. He's doing well. I just want these guys to be happy. I want them to be able to fucking make a living and take care of their families. And you know, I know we always come across as the evil empire. Well, if we're the fucking evil empire, man, we're a pretty good fucking evil empire. We're taking care of a lot of people, and we continue to. And you know, at the end of the day, I know who we are. I know what we do. And those are the things I don't talk about. Talk about conversations that we have. I don't ever tell you guys stuff that's done behind the scenes and things we do for guys and stuff like that. He said it tonight. I didn't say it. Yeah, he said it.
As far as how the Ultimate Fighter season has gone so far?
It went great. It was a great season. Right down to the fights to make it to the finale. It was a good season. The reality side, I don't know a lot of the reality stuff. I'm just there at the gym with the fights and stuff. There were a couple reality moments that I had to get involved in, of course, because these two are fucking nuts. They hate each other. So I had to get involved a couple times, right out the bat, and then kind of toward the middle. And then I don't know what else happened as far as reality goes.
Yeah, in the Q&A today, Ronda said she's convinced she'll look crazy by the end of the show.
They're both going to look fucking crazy on the show. You know why? They're both fucking crazy. They bring the worst out in each other. Seriously, you know, Ronda, I see Ronda interact with other fighters. Kat Zingano walked over to her tonight and hugged her. And Ronda's like, oh my God, how you feeling? How long you think it's going to be till you get back? And da-da-da. Look at her and Liz Carmouche. Her and Liz Carmouche fucking loved each other. They were going to fight, and they went out there and, you know, tried to rip each other's heads off. These two bring the absolute fucking worst out in each other. You know? They both look like fucking lunatics. Yeah.
Dana, what do you think about Cub Swanson today and Frankie Edgar both doing what they did for the featherweight division? Do you see a future matchup with them, or maybe Ricardo Lamas, Cub Swanson rematch?
Yeah, there's a lot of great fights to make in that weight division. I love Cub Swanson. I just thought he looked so good tonight. And so did Seaver. Seaver came out like a fucking beast, and you know, Cub had to weather that storm in that first round. That first round, Seaver was putting it to him, and he looked like Cub looked like he was off his rhythm. And I love Cub Swanson, man. When I talk about, there's a reason he was the first fight on the pay-per-view. You know what I mean? And when I talk about guys who want to get fucking noticed, guys who want to make money, guys who want to this, that, Cub Swanson's a perfect fucking example. You know what I mean? He doesn't come out and push you against the fence. He doesn't try to fucking stall out wins. He tries to whoop your fucking ass on the feet, on the ground, in every position he goes in. He's incredibly exciting. He'll fight anybody, anywhere, anytime. Cub Swanson is the exact fucking type of guy that I love and that we're looking for and that will be in this company for a long time.
So do you see him maybe as one fight away from getting a shot maybe at the winner of Aldo and Zombie?
You got Pettis still. I mean, if he's at 45, 55, you got, so much talent in that division, which is a good thing. It's a good problem to have. It's not a bad problem to have. And going back to Ronda, because I didn't want to stop your question because you had already asked that. I was going to say, what's funny is we stopped filming on Tuesday. Today is Saturday. She did the Q&A yesterday. So from Tuesday to today. So from Tuesday to Saturday, she's already thinking, holy shit, I acted like a lunatic on this show. I acted crazy. What did I do? Oh my God, I'm probably gonna look nuts on the show. She's already thinking about it. But when they're in it, and it's because they've been away from each other for 4 days now? Okay? When these two are within 2 fucking feet of each other, it's crazy. It's crazy. They bring the absolute worst out in each other.
Well, and plus lately the whole thing with Meisha now doing the body issue reignited this whole thing between the two of them and her, feelings on that. When Ronda did it, Meisha was critical of it, and now she's doing, and that just started a whole new web of back and forth.
My body's better than your body.
I know how girls can get, Tate.
My body issue looks better than your body issue.
Yeah, John Jones, way to get off it, jeez.
Yeah. Oh, is John Jones fighting about his too?
We're kidding.
My body looks better than both your bodies.
Hey, you got some guys up for ESPYs this year, yeah?
Yeah.
Right? How do you think that'll go?
We'll lose to one of the major sports. We'll make it close and then lose. But you know what? In the past, again, that's our fans. Our fans are so awesome that, it's that internet power. The internet that I bitch about. The good and the bad of it. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad. The good is, they get on there and they really pump for the MMA guys to win.
You're talking about you're going on tour with these eight fighters now. I mean, are you looking at the last part of the year? It looks like it's and then the whole card's already been laid out. You've got some strong finish of the year.
Yeah, we got a great end of the year as long as everybody stays healthy, and we got a lot of work to do for the end of this year, man. It's going to be crazy. Flying all those cities and doing all the PR.
You lost a super fight. Is there anything in your mind for next year? Maybe you can do a stadium?
We lost a super fight, but we got the rematch between these two. GSP and Johnny Hendricks is a fucking awesome fight, man. Again, one of those situations where one of the pound-for-pound best fighters in the world, many people believe this is the guy to beat him. Can't take him down, and he's got sick knockout power. Then we got the zombie fight with Aldo. It's not the Pettis fight, and I was so excited for that fight. But the Korean zombie is pretty friggin' fun too. So.
And what is Kane and JDS's birthday?
That the best trilogy ever in UFC history. What was your question?
When is it? I forget what you said at the beginning of the show. October?
Yeah. In Houston.
In Houston.
Yeah, I love that fight. I'm excited for that fight too. And Diego Sanchez and Gilbert Melendez are on that card.
Do you know?
Is that on television?
Yeah, are you stacking that with a little bit more of the Latino fighters just because of the proximity to Mexico? Yeah.
Yep.
Smart.
Yep.
We know that date was probably was going to be in Mexico City. You said it's really hard to get into Mexico City. Is it a tax issue? Is this regulation? Is this
No. It's not. It was not hard to get into Mexico City. It was hard to get a deal done down in Mexico. That's what was hard. Well, we got the deal done. We can get a fight down in Mexico City now. It's just a matter of, everything has to line up. We'll do something once we launch, the Televisa deal and get that thing rolling. A fight down there's a no-brainer.
Everything's fixed, man. don't have a problem with any commission, any.
No problems.
So it might be in the first semester of.
Yeah. As soon as we get this TV deal rolling and get things all in order the way that we want it, we'll do a fight down there.
Could be next games.
I don't know when. ASAP. As soon as we possibly can. Been dying for Mexico. Dying for it for 13 years.
You have to be the last big name there.
Cain Velasquez is a big name?
He has to be there. Tate has to be him. He has to be Velasquez headlining.
Wouldn't hurt. Wouldn't hurt. You done with me?
Real quick, you see Nick Diaz's Instagram post?
Are you asking me a Nick Diaz question? Come on.
What was it?
Yeah, he said, broke up with his girlfriend, wants to fight. Dana, get me a fight. Nick Diaz is under contract with the UFC. Whenever Nick Diaz wants a fight, I'd be more than happy to get him a fight.
If he did want to come out of retirement.
Nick Diaz called me the other night and said, all the hotels are sold out in Las Vegas. I need a hotel room. I said, no problem, kid, I got you. Got him a hotel room, got it all set up, never fucking showed up. Yeah, oh, he's the best. Now I'm starting to think he's just fucking with me, you know? Now I'm starting to think he's just fucking with me. Yeah. What's that?
Have you talked to Nate Diaz at all and how his relationship with him? No.
Awesome. As far as I'm concerned, I have a great relationship with Nate Diaz.
Twitter thing and everything like that.
Oh yeah. Listen, guys are gonna say stupid things on Twitter. I don't know how many times I can keep drilling guys. And I bumped into Josh. Josh Thompson here at the Expo. He's like, I'm sorry about the whole, dude. Fucking, he said, Dana, before I got into the UFC, nobody gave a fuck what I said. You know what I mean? I could have said, I like to stomp on baby heads every weekend. You know what I mean? Nobody would say anything to me. Nobody would even notice. Now that I'm in the UFC, now people notice. And I said, exactly. So, what he did wasn't wrong. There's nothing wrong with having an opinion. But why? Why even go down that road? You're not a politician, you're not a whatever, you're this, that. If there's something that you strongly believe in and you're against something, there's nothing wrong with that, And like I said, he didn't do it in a way where he was saying negative, hurtful things to people. He just was giving his opinion, but just why? Why do it? It's not worth the headaches. Talk about it amongst your friends.
I don't know what made me think of this, but did you hear about Rosenthal? He's serving 37 months.
I did. That's the craziest fucking thing.
Lazy. I didn't want to say.
So crazy, man.
And,
And
then plus 3 years parole after that.
Yeah.
That's so fucking crazy, man.
He's locked up.
Guy was like this huge drug dealer, and he's on TV reffing fights every week. Very unassuming guy. Hell of a farmer, apparently, though. Hell of a farmer. So crazy. Yeah. Good?
Thank you.
Good night, you guys. Thank you.
Good night.
I'll go to sleep.
Oh, yeah.
Right on this table.
Yeah.
Just gonna lay out.